Hey, what's going on, people? It's High Tech, and today we're going to be taking a look at the iPhone X and the Pixel 2 XL, the flagship smartphones from Apple and Google. I've used and reviewed both these phones. My last video was the Pixel 2 XL review, so now that I've reviewed both of them, I wanted to give you guys a comparison of these phones so that you can get a better idea of which phone would be best for you. Okay, so first up, let's take a look at how these phones are designed. Apple and Google took very different approaches when designing these phones. Starting off with the iPhone X, there's glass on the front and back with a stainless steel band on the sides. I absolutely love how this phone feels in the hand. The weight of it and the smoothness of the rounded corners make it very comfortable to hold. This does, however, make the phone pretty slippery, and I'm always super paranoid when I don't have it in a case. Apple claims that the iPhone X has the most durable glass ever in a smartphone. But I don't really care what Apple says, it's still glass, and if you drop it the right way, it's going to break. So most of the time I have it in the Rhino Shield modular bumper case. I'll put a link to the case down in the description in case you want to check it out. But despite how fragile the iPhone X may or may not be, there is no denying that it's made of very premium materials and has a high quality build. My only complaint about it is the ridiculous camera bump. There's just no reason why it has to be as big as it is. The Pixel 2, on the other hand, has an aluminum build with a plastic finish. Now, some people might say that this makes it a bit of a cheap design, but I wouldn't say that at all. This phone is very well made and looks really good to me. And honestly, considering the cost of repairing an iPhone X if you do break the glass, I think there's a lot to be said for having a design that looks good and is more durable. But having said all that, objectively speaking, the iPhone X does have the more premium build, so I'd have to give it to the iPhone X as far as design goes. Alright, now let's take a look at the displays. I feel like the display is the most important component of any smartphone since you're using it all the time. Like I mentioned before in my review, Google went with a pretty subpar OLED panel made by LG for the Pixel 2 XL. It's not the worst display ever, but when you put it next to the iPhone X, it's clear to see that it doesn't get anywhere near as bright and colors just don't look as accurate. But the iPhone does have that notch. In portrait mode, I don't notice it at all, but in landscape, when watching videos in full screen, it's impossible to ignore. But the thing is, most content is formatted in the 16:9 aspect ratio, so to prevent cropping off the video, I end up never using full screen mode anyway. Now, with the Pixel 2 XL, I don't have to worry about any of this since it doesn't have a notch, but I can't overlook how much nicer the iPhone X's display is. Next up are the cameras. Both these phones have great cameras that have different advantages over each other. I feel like the Pixel 2 XL's pictures are sharper and have a more crisp look overall, but the iPhone's color processing is more pleasing to my eye. Pictures tend to be warmer and have a little bit more color saturation when compared to the Pixel 2 XL. When it comes to portrait mode, the Pixel 2 XL wins hands down. It's pretty much not even debatable. The iPhone X has 2x optical zoom on its telephoto lens though, so you can zoom in without losing as much detail. And as far as video goes, I'd have to give it to the iPhone X since it has the same 2x optical zoom while shooting video, can record slow-mo video at 1080p up to 240 frames per second, and can record 4K video at 60 frames per second. So overall, I'd say for photos I'd pick the Pixel 2 XL, and for videos I'd roll with the iPhone X. Moving on to performance, the A11 Bionic processor in the iPhone X is definitely a beast and has way more processing power than the Snapdragon 835 that's in the Pixel 2 XL. But honestly, in everyday usage, I really can't tell the difference. Everything is smooth and fast on both these phones. And as far as Android versus iOS goes, that's way too much of a personal preference to give a definitive answer on. Both operating systems have their pros and cons, but I will say that there are a lot of features the Pixel 2 XL has that I really wish were available on the iPhone X, such as being able to squeeze the phone to bring up your voice assistant or swiping down on the fingerprint reader to access your notification shade. And while we're on the topic of fingerprint readers, I personally love Face ID on the iPhone X, but using the Pixel 2 XL makes me miss having a fingerprint reader as an option. So which phone is better? Well, that really depends on what's more important to you. They are both great phones, but which one is best is always going to come down to which one best suits your needs. Alright, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe so you don't miss my new videos coming out every week. This has been Sean from High Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.